And two guests, George Jeff is going to stay around and visit with us here for a split second and welcome the other special guest who, see the fellow with the Missouri State pullover? Yeah. He said, that's Guy Newcomb, scoreboard guy. He says Mark Smith is the very best football player he ever saw. That's a huge compliment, but you are pretty good, Mark.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's a great compliment. But the thing is, the older I get, the better I was. So it's good to keep people like that on my side. It's very him some money before he said that.
Well, maybe he has some. Maybe he has some to share with us.
No.
The fact of the matter remains that you are, of course, one of Webb City's all-time greats, and with the Razorbacks, of course, you had your share down there. You also spent some time with that team up north through the Chiefs. Tell us a little bit about that portion of your career as a professional.
Okay. I tell everybody I had the best seats in the house for 2 years. When I was going through college and growing up, my heroes were Marcus Allen and Derek Thomas, and they were both on that team at that time. And, as a practice squad guy, you took every rep in practice, offense, defense, special teams. So I got to block Derek Thomas. I got to pass rush against Marcus Allen. So I was just like a kid in a candy store. Great time during my life, and they had some really good teams. It went 13-3 and lost in the playoffs, but got to see some electric atmospheres and all the things you dream about growing up.
How did those established pro players treat you as a member of the Taxi Squad? Well, you were certainly a team member, yeah, but as in terms of your focus on the team, how did they treat you?
I was kind of amazed because you're always apprehensive when you're going in, but those guys are professional for a reason. They're good people, well-spoken, and they treated me with a lot of respect. As long as you did what your role was, to go hard in practice every day, and you try to make them better, and they had respect for you, and it went both ways.
Yeah, Mark, you're part of the Webb City, beginning of the Webb City football dynasty. It really took off. I think Coach Kill came in during your high school career, and that kind of got things rolling. How did from your viewpoint, how did it get kick-started? How did it get started?
It's crazy how one person can have such a huge impact on a program. He came in, and they always say we run through a brick wall for that guy. He was one of those people. I mean, he could relate with the mayor of the city. He could relate to the custodian. He made everybody feel better, and you wanted to make him happy, and you wanted to. He instilled some pride in the city, which is hard to explain, but when you're there and you experience it, I mean, even involved the little kids. He started the bleacher creatures. They were out on the field and just gave the players a reason to play.
Let's visit with Jeff Shore again for a second or two. Do you have any remembrances of this guy playing at Webb City?
Absolutely. He's a little younger than I. He looks a little younger than me, too. But I remember his brother.
Yeah.
His brother played against his brother, who was a heck of a football player. A great story about your brother was back in 1986. We ended up scoring a touchdown, and one of our wide receivers, Lance Dye, turned around and looked at him and said, "Hey, you missed that tackle or something." And your brother takes off after him and chased him all the way across the sideline back to our own side.
Yeah.
And then ended up playing with him a little bit at Missouri State. So, and then obviously I watched you play. I'm a big fan. And you'll probably remember this as an Ozark playoff game. One of the best hits I've ever seen in that game. I think it was on an interception. But I watched you, carry that team. And I don't know if you remember the Ozark playoff game or not, but I was there for that one. And so anyway, I just, big admirer of his. And like I said, got to play with his brother some, and just always rooting for him, of course, at Arkansas, and then root for him after that to get to play a little bit of time.
Do you remember that Ozark game?
Oh yeah, I remember we played Ozark a few times in the playoffs, and they were always very competitive. Had some really good teams.
When you were at Webb City and starring and being recruited by colleges, what made you select Arkansas?
So my mother and I were very close. Went through a lot growing up, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I just felt really comfortable with the coaches that were recruiting me. A guy named Joe Kynes.
I remember him, but he wasn't head coach, though, was he?
Well, he became the head coach one game into the season.
That was it, the one game.
The interim head coach after we lost to the Citadel. He was Jack Crow was let go, and Joe Kynes stepped in as the interim, and then Danny Ford took over after him. But just felt really comfortable with that style of coach. I believe, you know, they told me I may come in, have a great career. They said I may come in and get hurt the very first play in practice, but they guaranteed me I'd get my education. That meant a lot to me and my mom.
Tell the folks a little bit about your career with the Razorbacks.
It was, you know, it's kind of storybook going in. You know, you don't know what to expect because, you know, you play in Southwest Missouri. It's a little bit different going from Southwest Missouri to Division I football. You're curious whether or not you can compete, and you know, I ended up redshirting my freshman year because of an injury, and then my redshirt freshman year, I stepped in probably 6 games into the season and ended up starting the whole time. Didn't have great team starting off, but ended up my junior season playing in the SEC championship and just playing against some of the best competition in Division I football. So I couldn't ask for more in a career.
And it is part of your education and your maturation as well.
Yes, sir.
Mark, I had the great pleasure. We produce a magazine here, a football football, basketball, and baseball magazine. And our coach of the year this past year was John Roderick. Gave me a terrific interview and a terrific story. 12 of Webb City's 15 state championships are under his coaching. What does that mean to the community?
It means a lot that somebody from the community thought enough to stay around and keep the program running like it is. And you know, the people that are involved from, you know, flag football all the way up Pee Wee football, junior high, high school, they're all committed to doing it the way that John likes. And
that's what he indicated that by saying that's why he likes to have, he has 140, 150 kids show up for practice and so forth.
Right.
And they all have the understanding that if they do the right thing, they're going to get into the game because it means a lot in that community.
Yes,
Would you concur with that?
Oh, I totally agree with it. Like I said, I haven't been around it quite as much, but when my kids were going through and you know, you have a lot of, like, the people I went to school with, their kids are all going through, so I don't know, it just means more when you're intertwined with the program.
Tell the folks a little bit about what Mark Smith is doing now.
So I was actually coaching at Missouri Southern when I finished my playing career, and I did that for 5 years. But then I got into pharmaceuticals. Now I work for a company called Novo Nordisk, and I'm a diabetes care specialist. Try to go into offices and talk a little bit about insulin and the treatment of diabetes and all that good stuff.
Saw a story, and I think it was yesterday, that insulin is now being offered free of charge to a lot of places.
A lot of times, so we're switching our focus mostly to GLP-1 therapy. It's a different type of injectable therapy, but yeah, insulin, they're going to make it a lot more affordable for patients, which is a good thing in the treatment of diabetes.
Now here you have Jeff Shore over here, who is a head football coach. Did that ever impact you? Did you want to ever be a head football coach anywhere?
Oh yeah, I still have ambitions of going back and coaching. You never know. You know, in the pharmaceutical industry, that may happen tomorrow. You know, I may be looking for a job, so I'll give you my resume before I leave.
Well, we'd love to have you, that's for sure.
I don't know if he knows this, but my mother and your father actually went to junior college together, Joplin Junior College.
I think I did know that now that you say that. That's correct. Yep, that's right.
Bob, did your dad went to Joplin Junior College?
And I remember hearing stories about Coach Shore going to the University of Arkansas, and, you know, he's a trailblazer.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Mark, just Arkansas football seems to be on an upswing under Sam Pittman. Do you keep up with the Razorbacks closely, and do you attend any of their games?
Oh man, yeah. It's been hard living in Missouri the last few years. You know, I'm a Razorback through and through, and you know, to see Coach Pittman come in, and you know, he has the same effect as what Coach Kill had on Webb City. He's having the same effect in Fayetteville, and it's just amazing to see. I mean, they're winning with a true freshman corner, a walk-on corner, 2 walk-on linebackers. It's amazing to see what he's doing. So, yeah, I'm a very proud Razorback.
Good. Well, they sure did pull a big upset of Ole Miss this past weekend too. Do you go down to see any of the Razorbacks games?
Actually, my weekends are pretty full. My wife also has a wedding venue that I spend a lot of time at on the weekends. But I watch and record, and it's just like I'm there. So I'm there in spirit.
Venue. So she provides the grounds for wedding ceremonies.
Yes, sir.
And is it in Webb City?
It's in between Webb City and Joplin.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Good for her. Well done. And this will be a big day for you, too, being up here with the Elite 11. That's congratulations, and thank you very much for taking time to be with us.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to say congratulations, too. Very few guys I've ever seen could dominate a football game on both sides of the ball like Mark Smith.
Precisely what
both sides of the football. So just congratulations, and one of the best players I've ever seen.
Very good.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well done. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. How about if we take a quick time out on the Sports Reporters? Don't go away. We have more coming up.